So thanks for joining me today. This is all about Amazon. My name is Leah. I actually manage our selling department here at BookLogix. A little bit about us. We are a non-traditional publishing company. So we help authors with everything in-house from editing, design, cover design, layout, registrations, getting it listed for sale, and that includes Amazon. And that is why we are here. So I do appreciate you joining me. And let's get into it. I sometimes have some technical difficulties, so give me just a second. There we go. All right, so the components of a product page. When you look a book up on Amazon, you're gonna see several things. The first thing that you're gonna see is your title and your subtitle, typically separated by a colon. You'll see the author name, images of the book, your description, ratings if there are ratings at that point in time. So you'll see rankings and ratings. Some people can rank a book and leave like a 5-star rank, but not leave a review. And reviews are some of the hardest things to get on Amazon. It's one of the things that I find that authors push for and struggle with the most to receive. You'll also find a look inside, which now I believe instead of being at the top like that is, I believe it says read sample in like a little bubble looking, kind of in like a little oval bubble below the cover. One of the things about your description is you want to really make sure that it grasps your reader in and shows them what they're going to get out of the book. A lot of times, most of the times that the returns happen on Amazon is because they say that description doesn't match the product. So you really want to make sure that you've got a really good description that does pull in your reader, but does tell them what they're going to get out of it. You'll also see information about the book, whether it's the print link, the publisher, the ISBN, what format you're looking at. As you look at this picture on the slide, you will see that this book in particular has Kindle, hardcover, and paperback available. So all of these are able for your buyers to be able to see. All right. So as you saw on that previous slide, the 3 formats that we have for that book, these are what they call linked pages. When you first list a book on Amazon, especially if you've got multiple formats, sometimes those pages are not fully linked. So it may take a few days, sometimes it can take a little bit longer than that. And occasionally, if for whatever reason it's not linking, you can reach out to Amazon. Now, a lot of the common problems that I see for why it's not linked is the subtitle doesn't match the book, or maybe the subtitle is on the paperback and hardcover, but it's not on the ebook. So you want to make sure that all of the information is correct and consistent across all 3 listings, especially if you are using different platforms to list them. For example, some people use like Ingram Spark, like a wholesaler, to list directly on Amazon or to list on Amazon. And there you put in your subtitle, but sometimes they may use Kindle Direct Publishing or KDP for the ebook and list that directly with Amazon. In that case, maybe you forgot to put the subtitle. So if you are missing some of those little pieces of information, they won't link. If you have any trouble at all, you can always reach out to Amazon through your KDP account, and they can help get the book linked. If you're using Ingram Spark, you reach out to Ingram Spark and they can also help. And the look inside the book, we're going to kind of break down each of the components on that page a little bit. The look inside the book is a small sample of what the ebook is. So if you have like a lot of like praise pages, front matter, so your acknowledgments, maybe your dedication, table of contents, if you have a lot of that stuff towards the front of the book, your reader may not be able to get a good reading sample of what they're going to see once they buy your ebook. So on this slide, it does say that you can submit the print book file also. You can, however, it is still up to Amazon to put that look inside up. And I'm finding that especially when you're listing through like a third-party seller account on their platform and submitting that print file to them, that they are very slow and they are not really putting them up. So they are the look inside. If you really want that look inside your book, the best way to get that is through an ebook. Now, some books, though, don't make great ebooks. For example, journals and planners. So if you have a journal or a planner and you want to give readers kind of what they're going to see and what they'll get from the material in the book, the best way to do that is to do additional product images. And I believe you can have up to 6 or 9 different product images. Your first 2 really should be your cover and your back cover so that people know what your book looks like. And then some of the additional images can then be your kind of interior pages. So if it's a planner or journal and it's a guided planner or journal, you would want to show more of the guided portions rather than like large swaths of blank area. Because the large swaths of blank area, like your calendar, notes pages, people are going to expect that. But what really is grabbing their attention? And as I've already previously mentioned, reviews are one of the hardest things to get from readers. That is the biggest marketing and biggest, not complaint, but like struggle that I work with authors on, is my book doesn't have enough reviews. What can I do? And you're right, it is hard. And you can't ask for a 5-star review. If you ask for a 5-star review, or if Amazon feels like you're manipulating the reviews in any way, then they can pull your book from sale from their platform. You also want to make sure that no one associated with the book is leaving a review, as well as anybody whose name is like the same as yours. So if you have a lot of family that have your name and they've read your book, they are more than likely going to place reviews online. However, a lot of people with the same name can be seen as kind of manipulating that information, and we don't want that at all. Amazon does have what they call a magic number. That magic number is 50 reviews. In theory, when you have 50 reviews, your book gets shown higher in search results. It gets a little bit more visibility. It's seen more. It may be a more suggested product because you do have a higher number of reviews. For example, I've already said that people involved in the book shouldn't be making reviews. I work in publishing, so I am not allowed to review any book on Amazon at all, because for the same reason, it can be seen as trying to manipulate those reviews in that system. Where your family can leave reviews is on places like Goodreads, or I believe there's a new one that's similar to Goodreads that's called StoryGraph, and I believe you can also leave reviews and rankings there as well. Now, there's another really big one when it comes to reviews. Not just anybody associated with the book, not just your family, you yourself. Do not, and I will repeat this, do not review your own book on Amazon. That is one of the biggest ways to get your review taken down, and that's at best. Worst case scenario is your book is taken off their platform. We actually had an author who used, I'm not sure of the company and I'm not going to name names, but they used a third-party company to help with reviews and to increase them. And Amazon felt like whoever they used violated their terms. So until they could get those reviews deleted, the book is off of their platform. If you can't find out how to get that review deleted, your book is off the platform until you can. And then you submit to them saying, hey, it's off, it's down, I promise I won't do it again, type thing. So that is the biggest thing. Another thing that I talk to authors about is updating their book. At some point, sometimes, especially for like business books or books that do need new editions every so often, when you have a new edition, your ISBNs and your reviews and your title, they're all tied together. So when you have a second edition and enough material that necessitates a new ISBN, then your reviews technically are for the first edition. So you can lose reviews between the first and second edition. Now that isn't all the time, and sometimes Amazon will carry some of them over. However, you can lose reviews, so just be careful and mindful of that. As far as, okay, now see, we got some technical issues. Okay. So rankings are part of the reviews, and again, people can leave the ranking as far as like a number and a star. Now, when we talk about Amazon rankings, we're talking about Amazon bestsellers. And this one is a hard one to achieve as well. It's not just based on how your book is doing in a day. It's based on how other books in your same category are also doing. I also find that when you're in those larger categories, for example, children's books, animals, dogs, you are going to be competing, if you have a children's book about dogs, against everything from Clifford the Big Red Dog to Paw Patrol, Disney books, 101 Dalmatians, any of those things. So really think about the themes in your book where you can maybe put it in a smaller, more niche category. The smaller and more niche categories, you will do better. Some categories may not need a ton of copies to sell in a day to get that high ranking or #1 ranking. Some may need over 1,000. So it really depends on where your book is as to how that ranking does. Now, this ranking can change throughout the day. It can fluctuate day to day, or I've seen the ranking change from the morning to the afternoon. When it does that, take a screenshot. As soon as you see it, take a screenshot. I've even seen people I follow on social media who have cookbooks, and they're like, my book is #1 in the Italian pasta category. They will take a screenshot and post it out to their followers. Do it. You are promoting your book. It is free promotion. Do it. Take that ranking and run with it. You never know when it may change. And again, if you're in one of those larger categories, you really want to look at potentially a smaller category, find a more niche area that your book still fits in to where you can succeed, especially if you want that Amazon ranking. And trying to see, you can get an idea from their system of how many books are in that category. So just keep searching until you find the best one. And then there are products like Amazon, I believe it's Amazon Rocket, or I've got to find the name of the program, but there are search engines and different options that you have available. There's one through Kindlepreneur where they have a product and you can search your keywords, categories, and it will help you determine how many books are in that category. And then this leads into, we've talked about how reviews can boost your search rankings, how being kind of in a category can help your search rankings as well. Your search results are determined by a number of factors. And that's anywhere from reviews, that's how many people are interacting with your book. So how many people are searching for your book, and how is your book being searched, right? And it's not just title match. Title match and your full title are not, they're just a small piece. When you are first on Amazon, I always suggest searching for your title, full title, and your full author name. One is there's a ton of books on the Amazon. So, and if you're not searching specifically by the books category as well, by doing that, you're also minimizing your search. Let's say you're looking for a red tractor and you're searching all instead of just books. Red tractor, you're going to pull up toys. You may pull up tractor parts. You may pull up tractor paint, depending on what all is sold on Amazon. You're searching their entire database rather than book category. So I recommend changing the category to books, searching by your full title as well as author name. And the thing to remember, and I get this question all the time, is my book's not on Amazon. And I'm like, no, your book is on Amazon. I confirm that the listing is still up, it's still for sale. It may not be showing up in your search results. If you're doing more of a generic search rather than, again, very specific, a full title and author name, Amazon limits the pages of search results because they know that people aren't going to keep scrolling through the pages to keep finding what they're looking for. So they do limit what those search results are. And they do that because, again, no one's necessarily going to be sitting there scrolling through pages and pages and pages to find what they're looking for. They're going to give up, and they don't want buyers leaving their platform. And I'm not sure how many of you have bought books on Amazon or bought used books on Amazon. One of the things on a component on a product page is the number of sellers who have copies of books and how many books they have and what kind of are and what condition they're in. So when we list a book, it's always new because a lot of times we're either printing it or we have inventory here that we can use to fulfill if it's a hardcover. Places like Ingram Spark, who have listings on Amazon, they're printing to order, hardcover or softcover. What can happen when your book is on Amazon for a while, or even when your book is brand new, but you're a little famous? For example, Prince Harry's book, before it was even released, had multiple sellers having the title. Even during the pre-order phase. And a lot of times what they'll do is either they have an account with a wholesaler and so they're buying as a buyer from the wholesaler, or they may be waiting until the book actually goes live, buying copies themselves and reselling them. So sometimes that happens. It is not a violation of your copyright. And unfortunately, there's really not anything that you can do about the used books. It's just additional listings on Amazon. At one point, anybody could say that they had a product and could sell. Now, Amazon is cracking down on some of that. A lot of the used books, now you see less and less of them, as well as with this slide, the scam and spam listings. Kind of these two go together because sometimes those sellers really don't have used books and are either buying books or they just say that they have a book. And sometimes it's really ridiculous pricing. So your $20 book could be on Amazon for $60 or $80, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. They may not actually have a copy. And even if they do, what they may be doing is buying it new and turning around and selling it. And again, with these spam and scam listings, that's kind of what we call them, especially when they're ridiculously high priced. There's not really anything that you can do. Now, for the used books, if you really want to make sure that there are no used books, you can buy them all and see what happens. If you have that, the bandwidth, the money, the ability to buy them all, you do have that option. Do I recommend it? Not necessarily. You can search from the different types of books, whether it's used, gently used, new. So you do have, as a buyer, the ability to kind of filter through these. As far as these spam and scam listings, it's buyers either, again, buying new books or getting a copy, and they kind of just want price it really high and see what happens. Amazon is doing a better job of that. Now they're requiring sellers to prove that they've bought inventory within a certain amount of time, how much inventory, and if they can sell it, do they have a letter from the publisher to be able to sell those books? This isn't with everything, but it is something that I am seeing that is becoming more and more common, especially among Amazon sellers. On your product page, and I know we are still on the components of a product page, on your product page, there is, if we look back at our first slide, you see the author's name on it. And a lot of times that author's name is kind of blue hyperlinked. So if you click it, you can go to what's called an author central page. And this is almost like an author profile on Amazon itself, that if you have multiple books as an author, someone can click your name from one of your book listings, and then they can see every product that you have that's available on Amazon, whether it be hardcovers, soft covers, ebooks, multiple titles. The Author Central is a free account that you can set up through Amazon. You claim your book, you put your bio, you can put your picture. You can tell a little about yourself through this Author Central. You can also run promos and ads as well through this. Now, as a publisher, we are not able to have an Author Central. So this is definitely a resource specifically for authors. and it is a great thing to do. So now that we've gone through the components of a product page, there's several different ways that you can sell your book on Amazon. And I've kind of already briefly mentioned a couple of them. One is you can list directly with Amazon using a third-party seller account through Seller Central. That's kind of what we do at BookLogix. Amazon Advantage is another option that you already have physically printed books. You are saying, yes, I have inventory. I can ship within 48 hours. There are subscription fees for having a Seller Central. There's different models. You've got an individual as well as a business model. They have different requirements. When you hit certain amount of sales, there's even more requirements for those. There's a couple of other options as well. You have Kindle Direct Publishing. Kindle Direct Publishing is KDP for short. So from now on, I'm just going to say KDP. With them, you can list paperback, hardcover, and ebooks. The hardcover options they do have, and this is a newer option for them, they're limited in the sizing that they have available, as well as paper. You have less paper choices with them. And then ebooks, you can have ebooks, and it's what's great about KDP is with the ebooks especially, ebooks have minimal cost because there's no print fees. Not only that, you have international distribution. So when you're listing directly on Amazon with KDP, you get not just Amazon.com, you'll get their internationals. So .co.uk for England, FR for France, you kind of get the idea. With Seller Central, you are specifically listing on the Amazon.com, which is the US marketplace. They do have options for, depending on how long you've been selling with them and what your selling standing with them is, they are expanding the Seller Central into Canadian marketplaces, Mexico, Brazil as well. Those have, again, different fees associated with them, as well as you got to ship internationally. That's where it gets a little bit more expensive for print books. That's why I like KDP or Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is a wholesaler that can also get your book listed on Amazon as well. So there is a variety of ways that you can do this. They each have their own fees associated with them or commission structures. So with Seller Central, you have more subscription-based fees. You keep a little bit more. You do have selling fees. When selling a book on Amazon, there's a flat rate, $1.80 per item sold, as well as a 15% referral fee. And that's 15% from what the buyer pays, including the book and shipping. So these are things to keep in mind. What is best for you? Do you already have physically printed books, or are you wanting print on demand, where you don't have any upfront cost on the books, but then you sacrifice a little bit of royalties because printing cost is coming out of that. The buyer is covering it when they purchase a book. And I've already kind of talked about different ways to get it on Amazon. Ingram Spark is another one. They are a print-on-demand company. They can do hardcover and softcover. Ingram Spark is larger in the print-on-demand than KDP. They'll get it put on Amazon as well as other retailer websites, both online, and then they also have brick and mortar stores. Now, KDP does also have what they call enhanced distribution. And if you are anywhere in forums or Reddit or even different author groups, you're going to get a variety of information, right? You're going to have some people who are completely anti-Amazon and don't want their books on Amazon at all. That's a smaller subsect of authors. You're going to have some that use both Ingram Spark and Kindle Direct Publishing. There's one thing to consider when you're doing that. You do not want to enable enhanced distribution on KDP when you are also using Ingram Spark. So Ingram Spark has that distribution network. So if you want that wide distribution, 100% go with Ingram Spark. If you want just Amazon, KDP is going to be great for that. If you don't want to do it yourself, you can always have your publishing support help. So that could be your publisher, that could be someone that you hire to do this for you. So there are ways that also you're not doing it yourself, but these are options where you can do it yourself. The most important thing, and I would tell you this any day of the week, the most important thing is that you are researching what is right for you and what's right for your book and how you see your book selling. And while this is all about Amazon, I want to talk a little bit about KDP. We touch on ebooks a little bit as far as being able to have distribution. One of the services that Amazon KDP has is they can do an auto conversion of an ebook instead of a custom conversion, which is kind of what we do here at BookLogix. The auto conversion has a couple of quirks that can come with it. So as we look on the left side of the screen, at least my left, your right, or your left as well. Okay. As we look on the left side of the screen, you will see that I've got a chapter 1 with some nice filigree next to the number, as well as a table of contents that includes page numbers. So this book was automatically converted from a Word document to a Kindle ebook. Now with the Kindle ebook, some things kind of happen that you kind of have to fix and you have to address. Because when you do an auto conversion, unlike a custom conversion, some of these nice design elements just don't translate well in that conversion. So you'll notice on the left side of the screen, sorry, right side of the screen, that the filigree, instead of being around the number, is off to the side. You'll also notice that the filigree that was above the table of contents is smaller and off center. The one thing there's a couple of things with ebooks that are not in print books. Page numbers are not in ebooks because people can change the size of the font, the type of font, they can change their line spacing. So because of that, page numbers are irrelevant. But if you don't remove those page numbers, they will still show up in your auto-converted ebook, which is what you see over here as well. They're also not spaced well, so it almost looks like chapter 5, Ladies First, is Ladies First 25. So it does give it not so great look, and it also makes it harder for the reader to read. So if we go to our next slide, you can make adjustments for things like this. So if you are wanting to use KDP and the auto conversion, you may have to simplify your layout some. By simplifying your layout, you remove those design elements and you remove the page numbers. It'll make your ebook look cleaner, easier to read, as well as make it a better reading experience for the author. One of the things with KDP is Amazon is one of the retailers who is asking about AI use. And they have they have a stipulation where they aren't selling, or they are really disclosing, and it's really not super clear as to what they're doing with the information right now, but they have knocked books off of their platform for being AI generated. If you're an author using Kindle Direct Publishing and you upload 20+ titles in a day, they're not allowing you to do that anymore. They are limiting how many titles that you can upload because it does seem like they are being auto-generated. So AI generated is when you're using an AI-based to an artificial intelligence-based tool, and you are doing nothing but telling it what to do. For example, the picture in this book was, I used Google Gemini, and I said, what does it look like when AI creates a book? And this is one of the images that was generated for me using that prompt. The AI generated does go with our AI and publishing webinar, which will be next Wednesday, and I'll plug that again at the end. But when you're generating something, you were doing nothing but just telling AI what to create for you. And that's really what they are having bans on for some retailers. So now there is a difference between AI generated and AI assisted. AI assisted is when you put the original material in and you use AI to help you maybe edit or refine the material. This can be done in editing. This can be done in images or graphics. There are way fewer restrictions on AI-assisted material. When you disclose the use of AI to Amazon KDP, they are asking you what program you used and what function you used it, how you used it, and what all information you can give. The Chicago Manual of Style, which is how publishing standards are used for editing, there are now guidelines on how to cite the use of AI in your material and in your book. So when you are using it, be extremely careful, especially if you want to sell your material and you are not using it generated. Again, assisted is different, and there are significantly fewer restrictions on AI assisted material and AI generated material. And this kind of brings us to the next categories, because I know we just jumped from AI to categories, but with categories, and you want to make sure that you're choosing the right category for your book. And this is where AI can be of assistance. You can use AI to help you research what categories may be best. You can give themes for your book and say, which are the least used but best category for a book of this genre, and this is my description. Help use it. There are ways that you can utilize AI, and I think that categories is a great one. Have it help you with your research. Double check what it gives you. 100% double check what it gives you and verify the information, but you can utilize it. And I highly suggest it. So when you are figuring out what categories to use, I wouldn't do fiction general. Fiction general, you're going to end up in a book with, or in a category with tens of thousands of books, a lot of competition. You want to be very precise and specific as you can, depending on what themes or genre your book is. With Amazon, they can change the categories how they see fit. And this is also due to buying habits of their buyers. So if your book is about business, but also gets purchased with a self-help book, you may get a self-help category on your business book. You may get a business category on your self-help book. While they may not be related, it's something that Amazon did because buyers have interacted with your book that way. So you want to make sure that your choices are as precise as possible. It will help buyers stay within that category and hopefully keep Amazon categories where you want them. Sometimes you can reach out to them and say, hey, Amazon, I need help. My book is in this category, but it really doesn't fit. I think it needs to be here. Sometimes they will help you with that. Sometimes they will adjust the category for you, but you really don't know until you reach out. And that's also no guarantee. And even if they do, their system could still change it up for you at any given moment as well. And especially the categories are great if you are looking to become you want that #1 bestseller. You want that small of category as possible. Categories, keywords, titles, all of these components make up the search information for your book. So you want to, with keywords, just like categories, you want to be as specific as you can. And you can enter as many as you can until it times you out. Now, KDP allows 7 per book, and they don't have to be just one word. They can be words or short phrases. And there is, and I've mentioned it before, but Kindlepreneur has help. They also have a program that you can use where you can search which keywords, and it will give you suggestions. Like for a while, if you had a female protagonist in your book, strong female protagonist was a popular one. You can do books by female authors, books, and it can also be books by. So like books by lawyers, if you're in a business book or you're looking for a law book. But you want to make sure that the information that you're getting is correct. So Keywords are all part of what makes up. Now, your keywords are not going to be visible necessarily to your reader. It's just going to be a portion of the metadata or the search, what makes up the search information. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Well, I can't find I can't see my keyword, but your keywords are there. You're not going to necessarily see them. And keep this in mind when you're spelling them. You don't necessarily need, let's say you're doing a Southern history book. You don't necessarily need Southern history, Georgia history, South history in the South. Amazon's system is designed to kind of come up with those variations as well as potential misspellings. They'll account for that. Hanukkah is spelled with a CH versus an H. Those types of things, you don't need to account for both of those because their system will do that for you. One of the biggest things that we get is, how much do I sell my book for? And that question is, you want to price it to sell, but I want to get the most money I can out of it. Well, you can, but you want to maximize your royalties. If you price your book super high to maximize how much you're going to get per book back, you may limit yourself in total sales. Children's books is a big category to price books in and something that people struggle with, right? Because for a paperback, a lot of parents may not pay more than like $15. And that really depends on the size of the book and how many pages are in it. When it comes to a hardcover, it's going to be the same thing. They may not want to spend $25 on a hardcover for a child. So pricing your book to sell, but making sure that you are making money is always going to be key. And there is that fine balance between pricing it too high to make as much money back per book, and you also don't want to price it too low. You don't want to shortchange yourself. So you want to price it for the material that you're in and for the genre that you're in and for the quality that you've provided. Now, sometimes you may not have complete control of that selling price. You do have the list price, but when it comes to the selling price on Amazon, you may not. If you use a book wholesaler like Ingram Spark, Ingram sells business to business. So when Amazon lists a book and it's from Ingram Spark, Amazon's not paying the list price. They're going to pay a little bit less per book. That's how they make their money. They buy it for less than what the book retails for, and they sell it to their buyers at retail. Because of that, when Amazon puts a book on sale, they're cutting into their own pocket. They're not cutting into yours. And when you see that sale, just like when you see that ranking nice and high, I want you to take a screenshot. I want you to take a screenshot and I want you to put it on your social media. And I want you to say, hey guys, my book is on sale. I don't know how long it's on sale. It's on sale right now. You can leave it open-ended. Get your book while it's available. It's on a 20% discount, a 40% discount. Cut into Amazon's pocket as much as you want. We talking about pricing a book. So that's also for a print book. For an ebook, they can also lower the price. But for an ebook, a couple of interesting things. You want to make sure that you're following the terms and conditions of selling an ebook. For example, Apple, and I know I'm bringing up Apple in the middle of my all about Amazon. Hear me out. Apple says your ebook price has to end in 99 cents. Amazon says that you can't sell an ebook on another platform for any less or a different price than you sell on ours. So if you're selling on multiple platforms, you want to make sure that you're reading the terms and services for multiple sellers, for multiple platforms. If you're just selling on Amazon, just make sure that you're following theirs. But on Amazon, you cannot sell an ebook for less or a different price than what you're selling it on other platforms. These are weird selling quirks that happen with retailers, especially when you're selling to on multiple platforms or multiple options. And when you think of Amazon, and we're talking about pricing and shipping, we've already talked a little bit about international shipping. When you are selling on Amazon, everybody thinks of Prime, and I love this one. Give me Prime or give me death. Will a non-Prime product stop a buyer from buying? No. Does it help? Sure. If someone has Prime, they are more than likely going to stick with Prime shipping, or unless they really want the product or can't find it with free shipping. Keep in mind too, free shipping isn't really free. They pay for it as part of their Prime membership, which I believe at this point in time is like $139 a year if you pay yearly, or $150 a year. So if you don't have Prime, if your book is not Prime eligible, you do want to keep in mind that your buyers will be paying shipping. Now, there are ways to get it with Prime. Using book wholesaler like Ingram Spark, you can list directly using Seller Central. You can have Prime. They have seller fulfilled Prime. You can also use Fulfillment by Amazon. Fulfillment by Amazon will only give it Prime shipping with here in the United States. They are kind of expanding that a little bit, but for the most part, it's here in the US. And again, Prime is not the end of the world. If your book does not have Prime, it's not necessarily going to stop it from selling. Now, what may stop it from selling is not doing any marketing, not pushing your buyers to Amazon. That can be one way that it won't sell on Amazon. If your buyers don't know that you have a product available, how are they going to know to buy it? And that's because there's a lot of competition. Books are not going anywhere. Books are staying here. In fact, Barnes & Noble is building more locations this year. Books A Million is building some brick and mortar stores outside of malls this year. So with online and brick and mortar, books are not going anywhere. There are anywhere from 4,000 to 11,000 new titles released every day. This is another reason why Amazon doesn't show you more than 20 pages of search results, because they have a ton of books that may be fitting into those categories. They may have a ton of search results for books on dogs for children. And it doesn't automatically equal sales by having your book available on Amazon. By having your book available on Amazon, it allows a larger audience to be able to access it, not guaranteeing those sales. So your marketing off of Amazon's platform pushes people to Amazon to be able to purchase. That is the biggest thing. Yes, it's on Amazon, and there's any number of reasons why it doesn't sell. This is why having categories that fit, that really fit, a description that really fits, you want a cover that can pull someone in. If you can't grasp them by the cover, and I mean, I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but a cover is really going to pull that reader in. Between that and your description, that's really where you hook your reader and hook your buyer. And that's why if you do have on page 21 of search results, why it can be harder to find your book. But then there are advertising and promotional options available. You can set up ads and promos in your Author Central account. These are ads that you can use, some that are more targeted than others, so they have different options within them. You can use outside people like a PR person or a marketing to help drive your sales to Amazon. If you are big on social media, make sure that in your bio or your link tree, there's a link to your Amazon listing. Make sure that you are still promoting your Amazon listing with a link that can be taken to directly take them from your social media page to Amazon buying page. If you have KDP for your ebook and you are in KDP Select, now let's talk about Select for a second. Select is a program where you enter your book in 90-day cycles, and this gets it put on Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited readers are typically voracious readers who have a subscription model where they can get as many books as they want for a set price every month. But there's really cool, unique marketing tactics that are available in KDP Select. In that 90-day period, you have two options that you can run. You can do a countdown deal where you can discount the book for up to 5 days, or you can discount the book and it can be up for a 7-day period with 5 different pricing increases. Where let's say your ebook is $5 and you want to increase it $1 every day. So the first day it's 99 cents, Second day, $1.99, $2.99, $3.99, and then finally by that fifth day, it's back up to regular price. The other option is that you give your book away for free for 5 days. You can do it up to 5 days, and you can run the countdown deal or the free ebook promotion, one or the other at any point in that 90-day period. You just cannot do both in the same 90-day cycle. Now, you do these, but you still need to tell buyers and tell people that you are running them. That is the best way. If you are not telling people how to get your book, you are going to struggle with sales. Even if you're running these KDP ads, or maybe not the ads, but if you're running these KDP deals like the countdown or the 5 free, no one's going to know unless you tell them. The same thing with your ad. Show that you're running an ad. Share your ad. If it's on Amazon, you can link to your Amazon ad. Hey guys, I'm running an ad right now. I'm running a special. Get my book at a discounted rate. And if you time it with, there's also third-party services that can help you promote to their like subscriber list for people of specific genres, where they can email blast everybody and say, hey, email list who likes sci-fi, this book is on sale for this period. All good ways to promote. Now, if you are, well, selling books, you need to make sure that you are accounting for taxes. So when you are paid royalties, royalties need to be or stated in your taxes for the following year for what you were paid the previous. And it's anything over $10 you need to disclose. I'm going to preface this by saying I am not a tax attorney. I am not a tax professional. Seek someone who has those expertises that can help you. They will be the best people to guide you in your specific situation to help figure out what's best for you. If you are selling, let's say you have the Selling Central account, should you collect taxes, all of that information is in the account, but also make sure that you are talking to someone who is a professional in the tax arena to see what's best for you and your business when selling a book. Because by creating a book, you are creating a commercial product. So you are creating a business in and of itself by creating that book. And every state or kind of district is different. So see what's going on, see what's the best in your area. We have a few minutes left. So before I take any questions, if you do have questions, feel free to use that box. We have a special session next week on book marketing basics, I believe, is next Tuesday. Instead of just on Wednesday, we have 2 sessions. So Tuesday the 18th is going to be book selling basics, and our complete webinar on AI and publishing is also next Wednesday, November 19th. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the reminder button for any future webinars. We love to see you kind of help have your book here at BookLogix. And if you have any questions at all, you can reach out at publishing@booklogix.com, as well as our phone number of 470-239-8547. But please utilize the questions box, and I will take some questions now. Let's see. All right. And again, feel free to use that questions box if you haven't. We've got a few more minutes here. You should be able to type your question. I see someone's hands raised, but I don't see a question just yet. Let's see if I... And then if anybody doesn't have any questions, oh, there we go. Oh, thank you. You are very welcome for the information. If you do have any questions that do come up, again, don't hesitate to reach out. We are always here. I want to thank you guys again for joining me. It was wonderful to present. Amazon is what I do day in, day out, and I definitely have a love-hate relationship sometimes. So I'm glad that you were able to join me and that it was helpful and good information. So thank you. No, I would not necessarily buy reviews. You can certainly use like review services, or if you have readers that you can send copies to that will guarantee you that they'll review in exchange for a copy, you can certainly do that. But that goes back to, you just can't ask them for a 5-star review. You want to make sure that you're asking them for an honest review. So you can, I guess, buy review services, but be careful with what services you're using. It's almost better to like see if you can get like a group of beta readers, or maybe not beta readers, but get a group of readers that you can generate or kind of pull together from your social media and say, hey, I'll send you a copy, but I need a review from you in exchange. A lot of them are more than willing to do that, especially if they're getting a copy of the book, whether it be physical or ebook. They are usually very happy to book in exchange for a review. And I would also request that they're Amazon reviews. Now, one thing again with that Amazon review is, let's say they put up a review, but for whatever reason it's not being seen on Amazon. That's between the reviewer and Amazon, because Amazon has criteria for the reviews to even be put up, like how much money they spend on Amazon in a year, separate from their Prime membership. They have other criteria, maybe have they reviewed before, have their reviews been taken down. So if the review for whatever reason is not on Amazon and they come to you, just have them go to Amazon. Amazon will be able to tell them why their review is not available. And I hope that answers your question. Are there any more? Have a few minutes left. And again, thank you for joining me. And we look forward to seeing you at future sessions. If you don't have any more questions, we can always kind of head out a little bit early today. Giving it another minute or so. And then if you have questions, or if there's anything that I didn't touch on that you would like to talk about, again, feel free to reach out, or if anything comes to mind quickly, feel free to use that questions box. So how much Amazon takes per book is really dependent upon how you sell. If you're selling with Kindle Direct Publishing or KDP, they're going to take, I want to say they have a 40-60 split. Now that's after your printing and your printing comes out of that split as well. So I believe it does. Ingram Spark has, again, their own kind of royalties. You tell Ingram Spark how much you want to, how much your list price is, what your wholesale discount is, because again, they're selling business to business, and then Amazon's cut is kind of that in between. If you're selling on Seller Central, you already have physically printed books, or you have a company that can do print on demand through Seller Central, where orders go to them and then they print, fulfill, and ship the books, which is one of the services that we offer when the book is registered to BookLogix. And in that case, it's going to be between you and the company that you use. But let's say you have physical books and you're using Seller Central. Amazon takes $1.80 as a media item, and then they take 15% as a referral fee for using their platform, which is of what the buyer pays. So how much money Amazon takes per book is really dependent upon how you're selling that book to begin with. So if you want to reach out individually, if you are already selling, it's in your Kindle Direct Publishing account. When you are listing your book, before you get to like sending the book, yes, I'm ready to sell, you will see exactly how much your book lists, how much the print charges, and how much you'll make per book before you even send it to, like, before you send it for sale. So you will be able to see that information prior. And the same thing with Ingram Spark as well. Before you list, you're able to see what you will make per book before you sell it. That is all part of the title setup information in there. So we have, again, a couple more minutes. Feel free if any other questions come to mind. If they don't, you can always reach out after the fact. For me, I always think of the best things once I'm done, and like once I've done something and then I've had time to think about it. So feel free to reach out to us as well.